Bitcoin's back, baby. Yeah. Woo! Bitcoin. Whoa. Yeah. What a wild weekend it has been for Bitcoin. Massive gains for Bitcoin are now being followed up by insane gains for altcoins. And what started off this crazy rally? Well, it seems like China has decided they would officially like to participate in the crypto world once again. This video will break down the pump, break down the China news, and I also want to share a little tale of two traders for you. So, Bitcoin, it did a thing the other day, you probably noticed, with the price of Bitcoin surging an eye-watering $3,000 in just a few hours, making it the third biggest single day gain percentage-wise in Bitcoin's history. I am sure that many of you remember the massive bull run of 2017 and how crazy all of that was, but none of that compared to what happened over the weekend. Bitcoin just had a single day that really beats an entire year in a lot of the traditional stuff like the stock markets. And the crazy thing is that we are just getting started here. The last Bitcoin bull market lasted nearly 3 years. We are now only around 6 months into the current cycle, with the halving still just 6 months out and the historical price peaks coming a year to 18 months after the halving. The move from around 14K down to 7K was probably what can be considered really just the first major bull market correction. There will be more of these to come, guys. And inevitably, the emotional patterns, they will also repeat themselves. Just imagine as an example. So imagine when we shoot up to 40K, right? And how much greed will be washing over crypto land when that happens. And then how much fear will take hold as the price corrects down to 20 or 25K or whatever might happen. Then we blast up to 100K and the cycle all repeats itself. Bitcoin is a long game. You have got to be patient. You've got to keep a cool head. And in amongst all of that crazy volatility, though, there is a lot of money to be made by clever traders. And a lot of money has been made over the past few days, but a lot of money has also been lost. So here's a real story for you, a tale of two traders. And I really want to share this with you because the volatility, man, what a wild event. I have had a lot of friends messaging me over the weekend about the profits and losses that they have had trading over on Bybit. And look, if you are margin trading on Bybit or another platform, then you have got to hear this because this is super important stuff. So let's start off with the sad story. This is the kind of story that makes me just shake my head because it's all of the classic mistakes except all done at the same time. My friend was trading over on Bybit and was shorting Bitcoin, and for some insane reason he was not using a stop loss, which means that his entire position was at risk of liquidation if the market had a big move. Well, it may sometimes seem like big moves are unlikely to happen. They can happen. It's Bitcoin. You can basically expect Bitcoin to do this kind of stuff from time to time because it's Bitcoin. That's why. He was also trading with a disturbingly large percentage of his portfolio. Now, he wouldn't tell me exactly how much, but considering how upset he was, I think a third to maybe even up to a half of his portfolio, which is just mind-bendingly crazy. He was also using bigger leverage, which, as we know, just increases the likelihood of being liquidated. And perhaps his most crushing mistake was listening to social media people and not making his own calls. He literally shorted Bitcoin because that is what everyone else was doing on social media, not because of his own analysis. And as you can imagine, crushing losses happened. Please pay attention to this. Anyone out there who is trading or interested in trading, learn those hard lessons by witnessing someone else's mistake. Do not repeat these mistakes. This is how people lose lots of money using Bybit or really any trading platform for that matter. This is how fortunes are lost in minutes. The market doesn't care about you. Remember that. And this story cannot be more night and day with another friend who messaged me on the same day about his long on Bybit. He was trading with around 5% of his portfolio, which is a little bigger than I usually go, but okay, still a pretty small percentage overall. He also had a generous stop loss put in place, and he was using only 5x leverage, which is probably about as high as you ever really want to go. Personally, I rarely do more than 3x these days. And most importantly, he was making his own calls based on his own technical analysis and on his own educated, rational decision. And the result for him is that he won big time with his Bybit long. That is how winning is done. And even if he had lost his trade, his losses would not have been substantial because he managed his risk by using low leverage, a low percentage of his portfolio, and he had a stop loss in place. Please, if you are trading on margin, or really if you are just trading at all, then understand that there are some simple steps to ensure that you maximize your chances for success and that you limit your downsides. Behave like the pros do. Use a stop loss, trade with a small percentage of your portfolio, use low leverage. Make calls based on your knowledge, not on what some random people on the internet are saying. And also accept the reality for yourself. You may not be a trader, and that's okay. You may not have the time to learn how to trade. You may not have the head for trading. It's all good. Just accept that and move on. Trading is a crazy game, and it is definitely not for everyone. For most of you listening, the absolute best method to do well with Bitcoin is simply to stack sats and chill. Just do your weekly buy. Keep your eye on the long-term game. Okay, so let's talk about China. Well, some people are saying that, yeah, it was the backed volume increase that led to the spike in Bitcoin, or some new tether drama that led to the spike in Bitcoin. Well, maybe they're in some tiny way responsible for the pump, but I don't think that anyone can really deny that China is almost single-handedly responsible for the exuberant enthusiasm that we have seen in the market over the weekend. So, what happened? China's President Xi Jinping has announced that he wants the country to take the leading position in blockchain, and that China should regard blockchain as a core technology for important, innovative breakthroughs, and that China should commit to accelerating the development of blockchain technology. The Chinese president just committed China in a big way to blockchain. You will notice he did not say the word Bitcoin. China is literally pulling the blockchain, not Bitcoin move. Now, some people will say that blockchain is the rising tide that will lift all boats and that Bitcoin will benefit from China talking about and encouraging blockchain. And to an extent, that is currently true, at least among public interest anyway. Searches for blockchain on Baidu and on WeChat have absolutely exploded over the weekend, seeing a 10x increase in interest in the word blockchain. Meanwhile, Bitcoin searches have gone up by 2x. So according to public interest, yes, more people in China are looking up Bitcoin. And do understand that the black market for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has largely remained ragingly popular in China ever since China began its crackdown on Bitcoin back in 2017. The popularity of cryptocurrency in China since the 2017 ban, which prohibited the buying, selling, and trading of cryptocurrency, but not the ownership or the mining of cryptocurrency, has largely been maintained, in part at least, by the mind-bogglingly large Ponzi scams that are as big as BitConnect. These scams have sucked in loads of people in China and have seen ungodly amounts of Bitcoin and Ethereum getting sucked into the void of Scamville. Cryptocurrencies, particularly USDT and Bitcoin, have also remained popular in China for evading capital controls, which is still a very popular use case for Chinese merchants doing international business, as well as for millionaires wanting to conveniently sidestep those dollar controls that have been put in place by the government. To be clear, at this time, there appears to be no intention to lift the ban on buying, selling, and trading Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in China, and there has been no publicly stated intention to stop the minor crackdown which we currently see happening in Inner Mongolia. Remember, he said blockchain, he did not say Bitcoin. But even this clear fact has not stopped speculators from rushing into the markets, as is evidenced by the big weekend spike and the fact that most Chinese associated projects like Neo and Bytum and Ontology pumped super hard today, with a lot of people really just reading what they want to be true from the news, not actually seeing what really is happening. The China announcement about blockchain comes a day after Mark Zuckerberg said that the US had better catch up or that China will eat America's lunch, technologically speaking anyway. Well, it seems that China was paying attention to that. And of course, now we have all of this happening, which means that Libra is probably coming, like it or not, and that the US may actually end up passing Libra simply as a counter to China more than anything else. What we are really seeing in China is the government pushing out the political and the legal foundations to prepare the country for the upcoming release of the digital renminbi, which is slated to debut in the coming months. China creating a digital RMB does not mean that Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. I mean, look, Bitcoin's going to go to the moon anyway, but it's not going to go to the moon because China releases a digital RMB. Some people are also pointing to the passing of a new cryptography law that is kind of a part of the raft of all this stuff happening as farther evidence that China is warming to Bitcoin, and I do not really agree. So what happened is the National People's Congress in China passed a cryptography law on Saturday. It will come into effect on January 1st, 2020. Now, cryptography does not equal Bitcoin and decentralized cryptocurrencies. China's National Congress said that the new law will encourage research and development on commercial cryptography technologies, while also building up an inclusive, standardized regulatory system for the market. I mean, I guess we could see Bitcoin make a comeback in China with some really strict market controls and most likely de-anonymized accounts following the lead of what the FATF has been trying to push internationally for the travel rule, for example. Anyway, according to the Chinese Congress, the new law will also encourage nationwide educational efforts such as public exhibitions to promote cryptography among government officials, companies, and different social groups. Could this new law apply to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency more broadly? Yes, of course it could. Certainly, China does not want to miss out on the blockchain revolution, but it does not directly imply that it will be focused on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. We really need to stretch out what they're talking here a bit to fit Bitcoin into this new law, because blockchain can mean a lot of things. In case you needed a little reminder, this is literally the country with the social credit system. This is the system that scores people based on government guidelines of what they consider to be or not to be a good citizen. This system denies people the access to do things like buy plane tickets or book hotels if they engage in behavior that the state deems to be anti-social. And then it also publicly shames people who have low scores. The Chinese government is also running a truly disturbing re-education program which has forcefully interned millions of ethnic minorities in the country's west to basically be brainwashed into the religion of the state. why anyone believes that the government doing this to its own citizens will magically decide to allow for decentralized cryptocurrencies to challenge the iron-fisted power of the state and to allow for the very technologies which will erode the power of the state to thrive. It's beyond me. Blockchain technology has the ability to free humanity from monetary oppression, but it's a double-edged sword. It can also lead to increased oppression. Libra, for example, uses cryptography, but Libra is an Orwellian nightmare for a whole range of reasons. The Chinese crypto RMB will probably be even more whacked out than Libra is. To me personally, it seems that all of the announcements are simply getting the country ready for the release of the Chinese national crypto, and perhaps more broadly for any cryptocurrency companies that are willing to toe the party line and to be good boys. They'll get their treats if they do. Because China is already the blockchain leader, which is really deeply ironic considering the stance of the government towards cryptocurrencies overall. But there is a massive amount of companies which are based in China. And on the back of the announcements from the president, the Chinese state TV channel has been running features discussing blockchain technology, and the government is even launching a blockchain learning website that does actually include education on Bitcoin and Ethereum, so there is that to consider. Anyway, there has been a lot of hype around what is and is not happening in China, and I would love to see China warm to Bitcoin. But President Xi's saying that he wants China to be number one in blockchain does not mean that he wants to see China be number one in Bitcoin. It's an incredibly important distinction. The old blockchain, not Bitcoin mantra is a dangerous one. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think about this story down below in the comment section. As always, you guys are totally freaking awesome. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. I super appreciate it. So thank you so much. And of course, if you did appreciate today's video, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell if you are new around here. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.